Everyone, please be seated. O Lord, our God, we turn to you each in our own way. We recognize the gracious gifts and blessings you and you alone have given us along our journey to reach this transition from student to laborer in your healing mission. We pause to celebrate the completion of this stage of our studies and beg your continued grace upon us as we take care of and care for those patients you will send to us. May your grace extend to those who will speak today, and may they speak your words of wisdom to us. Please bless our school leaders, faculty, students, residents, staff, and lend your sanctifying grace to the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, class of 2018. You, O Lord, have blessed us greatly and given us a tremendous responsibility and mission to relieve the suffering of all members of our community. May we always seek to serve you through those in need of our ministrations. Through your blessings we pray, amen. At this time, I'd like to ask Catherine Jennings, president of the class of 2018, to now approach the stage.
Good evening. My name is Catherine Jennings, and I have had the honor and privilege of serving as class president during our time here at the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine. Over these last 4 years, one of the things among many that we've learned here is how to write a patient encounter note. Now, this note begins with the chief complaint, progresses through the patient's past medical history, includes their vitals, their physical exam, and their assessment. It ends with the plan. Now, some might argue that the plan is actually the most important part of the note. Hence, today, I would like to focus on our plan moving forward. I have 3 important words that have come to sum up my medical school experiences: love, humility, and hope. I pray that they will define our journeys through residency as well. The first step in our plan is to love. Now, oftentimes we find ourselves using this phrase, I love. I love anatomy lab. I love sleep. I love hernia repairs. Each of us went to medical school because, to some extent, we love science, we love medicine. In the words of Hippocrates, wherever the art of medicine is loved, there is also a love of humanity. No matter how hectic or stressful our day at the hospital may be, we can always search for and find examples of love. Our classmate was kind enough to share with me one of her own experiences. On one of the tougher days of 3rd year, she found joy in witnessing a great love between a patient with pancreatic cancer and his wife. Now, as she's detailing this story to me, I really took note of how well the patient loved her, our classmate. Every morning she would walk in at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, flip on the lights, wake him up, ask him a series of questions, push on his belly, and place a cold stethoscope all over his chest and abdomen. Regardless, his attitude every morning was one of gratefulness. He said, "What can I do for you? How can I help you? How can I pray for you?" Patients, doctors, nurses, attendings, support staff, and administrators throughout the hospital generously display love through their actions. Love is a group of medical students dressing up as Disney princesses and princes to go over to the children's hospital and visit the sick children. Love is spending countless hours volunteering as a leader at the medical student-run clinic. Love is stopping to ask the cleaning lady how she's doing today. We as new doctors can set the tone for this kind of selfless love. May we be witnesses to it and perpetrators of it as we move forward into residency. The next step in our plan is to model humility. I would like to share one of my own experiences. Eager to pursue a career in surgery, I entered into my third-year surgery clerkship with my eyes wide open. I wanted to copy how a surgeon walks, how a surgeon talks, how a surgeon operates. I doggedly followed my surgical resident into a patient's room where we were being consulted by another team of doctors to look at their patient with abdominal pain. Now, as soon as we walked in, this pungent smell met our nostrils. The surgeon retracted the sheets and found that this patient had soiled herself all over. He told me to get the nurse, so I went to go find her. She said she would be right there. I relayed this message to the surgical resident, who nodded and quietly donned a pair of gloves. He purposefully, gently, calmly proceeded to clean the body and the sheets of a patient that was not even his own. This surgeon modeled true humility that day. He reminded me of the words of my mother: "You are never too good for any job." No matter what degree we may have, my hope is that we will walk forward, treating our pristine white coats not as marks of superiority, but rather as cloaks of humility. May we never forget the healing power of a touch, a smile, a hug, or even a kind word. The final step in our plan is to hope and to give hope to others. At one point in medical school, I almost quit. I called my big sister, who was trudging through a PhD program at the time. I told her, "Christian, I can no longer see the light at the end of the tunnel." Her response was, "Well, Catherine, at least you're in the tunnel." She reminded me that medical school was an opportunity that I had been given. It was my choice to stick it out. I could exit the highway at any time. Each one of us is here today because we had a choice to continue studying for step one, a choice to stick it out through endless nights on the trauma service, a choice to stop crying in the stairwell and go back to the ICU. We held on to hope and encouraged one another. And what's more, all of you encouraged us. You gave us hope. As I look around this auditorium today, I realize that the majority of the people in here are not actually graduating. We graduates are a minority, surrounded by the people who have helped us reach this stage. The auditorium is filled with our support teams, our parents and grandparents, our siblings, aunts and uncles, children, spouses, attendings, and friends. In our oath that we recited on the same stage 4 years ago, we said, "To our loved ones, we thank you. Your support has brought us this far and will foster our growth as physicians." Today, we renew that pledge and ask that you would continue to stand beside us or even carry us as we trudge down this difficult path. Continue to help us to implement our plan, to love deeply, to walk humbly, and to hope fiercely. La generación de 2018 le gustaría darle las gracias por su apoyo y amor. Class of 2018, please join me in a round of applause as we express our appreciation for each person here. I'd like to now take a moment to introduce the members of our platform party. Please stand to be acknowledged as your name is called. I'd ask that you would all please hold your applause until the end. Please remain standing. Mr. L. Frederick Rick Francis, Chairman, Texas Tech University System Board of Regents. Dr. Richard Lang, President, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center, El Paso, and Dean, Paul L. Foster School of Medicine. Dr. Lang is also the keynote speaker in today's ceremony. Dr. Paul E. Ogden, Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs. Dr. Maureen Francis, Assistant Academic Dean for Medical Education, College Master, and Professor for the Department of Medical Education and Clinical Associate Professor in the Department of Internal Medicine. Dr. Catherine Horn, Assistant Vice President for Student Services, Associate Dean for Student Affairs, and Associate Professor of Family and Community Medicine. And Dr. Manuel Scheidlauer, Associate Academic Dean for Admissions and Professor of Pediatrics. Thank you, Platform Party. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you'll notice that there is one empty seat on the platform this evening. This seat is reserved for the Gold-Headed Cane Award recipient, who will be named later in the ceremony. I would now like to introduce Chairman Francis. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening. On behalf of the Texas Tech University System Board of Regents, I want to welcome each of you here to the 2018 Paul L. Foster School of Medicine Commencement and Convocation Ceremony. I stand here tonight as a Texas Tech University System Regent, Chairman of the Board, a Texas Tech alumnus, and a native El Pasoan. And I can tell all of you that I am so proud and filled with such intense pride for this class of students. Even though tonight is about each one of you, our amazing students, there are many of us in El Paso that have many, many reasons to celebrate. Your dream of becoming a doctor is a goal that this community has worked for tirelessly for many, many years. It has been our #1 priority to watch this medical institution that was just a twinkle in our eye 2 decades ago, where we tried to expand a 2-year program based out of Lubbock into a full 4-year medical school. And then we added the School of Nursing, the School of Biomedical Science, the Graduate School of Biomedical Sciences. And today we have our own university with our own president, our own staff. It is a key economic driver for us, and it is helping educate our next generation of the future workforce, and it's solving some of the medical issues that we have in an underserved community like El Paso. Over 4 years ago, each of you made a decision to attend the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, and that has taken you down a path most will never follow. They'll never know, and you will be forever part of a unique school that crossed boundaries in an effort to provide a progressive path towards physicianhood. And you will forever belong to the city that many of us love with its rich culture all of its own. The reality is that your success will forever be symbolic of a larger mission, one that involves growing competent, compassionate, and culturally sensitive and aware physicians for underserved communities here and elsewhere. It's a lot to live up to, but we believe in you. Tonight, you are proof that hard work, determination, and an honorable goal lead to the realization of dreams. And to the faculty and staff of the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, each of you has served these students diligently in the past, and you continue to grow this school into one of the finest in the nation, and you have much to be proud of. So congratulations to all of you, and now I'd like to introduce you to our keynote speaker, Dr. Richard Lang, President of the Texas Tech Health Science Center here in El Paso, and Dean of the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine.
Well, 2 years ago, I used to follow Catherine Jennings when she spoke to the Board of Regents. I never liked to follow her because she always does an excellent job. Catherine, thanks for your words. Appreciate it. And good evening, and welcome to the graduation of the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine class of 2018. I want to welcome our distinguished faculty, the proud parents and grandparents, the astonished aunts, uncles, cousins, the skeptical siblings, and the relieved spouses, yes. Fourth-year medical students from the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, I am honored, very honored to give your commencement speech. This is your final medical school lecture. No PowerPoint slides, no handouts, and more importantly, no formative or summative assessments at all. Now, I'm told that the secret of a good commencement speech is to have a very good beginning and a very good end, and the two to be as close together as possible. So I'll try to do my best. It is a profound honor and a privilege to be your graduation speaker. You may or may not remember, but in July 2014, I was the first to welcome you to Texas Tech University Health Science Center, El Paso. We both started our careers at this institution on that very same day. You as first-year medical students, and me as the dean of the medical school and the president of the Health Science Center. You probably didn't realize how much we shared in common. You were eager, you were anxious, you were naive. I was clueless too. You were inexperienced, you had never been medical students before. I'd never been a dean or a president either. You were wondering if you would make it to this point. Ditto for me. You've had many sleepless nights, moments of doubt, self-reflection, and nevertheless persevered to complete a very arduous education. I too have had many long nights, many long days, many short nights, moments of doubts, and I've ultimately learned a lot as well. You've been tested time and time again by our faculty. At times, they've tested me too. You care deeply about our school, our community, and those in need, and I care deeply about those things and deeply about you and your success. Since we have so much in common tonight, I'd rather talk from my heart, and I don't want to give you an exhaustive list of empty platitudes. Now, this won't be an aha moment that will change the direction of your career. It's too late for that. It won't suddenly endow you with some knowledge that makes you able to win the Nobel Prize. If I had that knowledge, I'd be the Nobel laureate by now. And I certainly won't review the experiences of the past 4 years of medical school, which are fresh in your memory and may precipitate PTSD. I won't do that. I won't even talk about politics, but I am the president. I may send out a tweet in the middle of this. That's my prerogative. But I will speak straight from my heart, so I'm going to ask you to listen with your heart and not with your ears. First, you need to realize that your friends and relatives have been patiently waiting for this very night for years. The evening where you finally obtain your medical degree, so that they can finally ask you about the gurgling abdominal sounds, the involuntary eyelid twitch, the herbal remedies, and the dietary fads. Yes. You know, from here on forward, no matter what your specialty, you're going to be asked to identify rashes captured on smartphones. You're going to be asked to look at small, quote, scratches, which usually is a partially severed limb, and to refill prescriptions with nothing more than a description. You know, I need 50 of those round purple pills. Relatives you never knew existed will call you to discuss fleeting diseases that have run in your family for generations that you never knew about, and which partially explain some of your own peculiarities. And finally, they will assist you unwittingly in violating every HIPAA law that was ever written. Yes. And although at times you may find this exasperating, you should be flattered to know that the persons who vividly recall your potty training, your spilled milk, and your difficulty in algebra class now really care about your medical opinion. Frankly, your journey through medical school would not have happened without the support of those relatives, those spouses, and their friends. And today, this very night, they share in your achievements and they're so incredibly proud that you persevered. Now, after your graduation tonight, you'll continue your medical training by starting your residency. So I'd like to offer a little bit of reassurance and a small bit of advice that I think may help you get through it. First, the reassurance. You'll be relieved to know that in your first year of residency, your internship, that none of my patients ever inquired about my medical GPA, my class rank, my lecture attendance, my step scores. They didn't even ask about my APGAR score. My APGAR was the very best score I ever had. Now, when you cross this stage tonight and receive your diploma, all of you, every single one of you, will be a physician. The identical stature, the same expectations. And when July 1st rolls around, your patient really won't care about your past accomplishments, whether they're many or they're meager. They will only expect that you are a caring and competent physician. Do you remember that from July 2014? Good. From here on out, you're going to be allowed into people's lives in a way that no one else in society is permitted. Strangers will divulge to you private symptoms in great detail. They'll answer intrusive questions that you ask. They're to disclose their personal social habits and the details of their most intimate relationships and forfeit their bodily privacy for the benefits of your examination. But they do so with the implicit understanding that you are a caring and competent physician. During this next stage of your career, your training, you'll have an opportunity to become exceptional physicians. So I'm going to encourage you to seize this opportunity enthusiastically. Don't squander it, embrace it. And it will set the course for the rest of your career, I promise you. Now the advice. Today, I hate to tell you, isn't the culmination of your medical education. Most of your learning isn't behind you, it's actually ahead of you. And it occurs in the next stage of your training and really throughout your career. So during your residency, please do the following. Care for as many patients as you can. There is no better education than the crucible of life. Read about your patients every day without fail. They want to know that you know what's going on and are up to date. Be curious, continually question things. Know when to ask for assistance and do so without reluctance. And when you make a mistake, and you will, learn from it so it's never repeated. Please be an enthusiastic and lifelong learner. Establishing these habits is essential because medical knowledge and technology are progressing rapidly. And what you have at your fingertips now wasn't even available when I trained. When I trained, an apple was a fruit you ate to keep the doctor away. It wasn't a computer. An iPad covered a corneal scratch. It didn't surf the internet. Facebook was a dermatology textbook, and a gene map helped you locate the Levi's store. We didn't have PCR, clot-busting drugs, ACE inhibitors, Z-Pak, antiretroviral agents, laparoscopic surgery, robotic surgery, medical lasers, stents. Thank goodness I had Bluebell ice cream and a barbecue, or I'd never have made it. Now, there's a lot of talk about the uncertainty of the future of medicine, and if you stop and think about it for a moment, you have to chuckle because the future of medicine has been uncertain for centuries. This is nothing new. In fact, we should be thankful that the future of medicine is improving and advancing. I really can't predict the future of medicine. When I trained 36 years ago, what we're doing now, I could not have predicted. But I am absolutely certain that there are still discoveries to be made. There are sick to be healed. There are poor who need an advocate. And there are dying who need comfort. So when you come to the point where there's nothing more to offer your suffering patient, do not underestimate the importance of genuine empathy, understanding, your time, a comforting touch, and the power of listening. During your third year of medical school, I received a call from my dad, who lives in Dallas, and was experiencing shortness of breath. He had been previously diagnosed with a progressive lung condition, idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis to our physicians. And he'd been hospitalized twice in the previous 2 months with pneumonia. I flew to Dallas and I arrived as he was being hospitalized for the third time. We exchanged small talk initially, and then out of the blue, my dad looked me in the eye and informed me that he wasn't going to make it out of the hospital. Now, I started in on the usual pep talk, and he stopped me mid-sentence. He stared intently in my eyes, and he said, "Rick, I am going to die during this hospitalization." There was a long, awkward silence. There was a swell of emotion, and I asked what he wanted me to do. And I quote, "Can you make me comfortable?" So for the next 3 days, I stayed at his bedside, titrating the oxygen and morphine so that he could spend quality time and say goodbye to my mother, my brother, my sister, his 6 grandchildren, his 2 great-grandchildren, and the friends he'd accumulated over his 49 years living in Texas. And over our 60 years together, those 3 days were the most poignant and precious moments we ever shared. Now, I couldn't cure him. I wasn't able to do that. But my father was never more proud or more grateful during that time, and I was never more satisfied that I had fulfilled my responsibilities as a physician. What the French surgeon Ambroise Paré understood in the 16th century is still true 500 years later, today. The task of medicine is to cure sometimes, is to relieve often, and is to comfort always. So one last thing, when you think that you are finally the embodiment of the caring and competent physician, you should be aware that even the best trained and most exceptional physician can still learn from their patient. And I've told this story once before, but I don't think you've heard it, but it's true. My patient, Leonard, he was a crusty, elderly Jewish gentleman from Buffalo, New York, who after he retired and moved to Texas, had a heart attack. And I cared for him during that heart attack, a near-fatal event, and for the subsequent years. Now, having grown up in upstate New York myself, I always enjoyed his New York accent and his wit. So one day, he called me to report that he had fainted and he was rushed by the ambulance to the nearest hospital. You know, that infamous outside hospital. And where various tests were done, and it cost thousands of dollars. And after all this, he had no diagnosis. They just discharged him. So after he was discharged from the hospital, he came to my clinic to solicit my diagnosis. Now, Leonard recounted to me that prior to fainting, he had experienced severe abdominal pain, cramps, he was nauseated, he was cool, he was clammy, sweaty, and he fainted. And when the ambulance arrived, he had reawakened, and he had a slow heart rate and a low blood pressure. It was a classic vagal reaction. For those of you that aren't medical, it's when pain activates the vagus nerve and it causes your blood pressure to fall and your heart rate to fall and you faint. A classic vagal reaction. Now, the diagnosis which had eluded his other physicians was obvious to me, and I hadn't even ordered a single test. So I was basking in my brilliance. And I told Leonard, "You've had a vagal reaction." And I described in great detail how his symptoms fit the diagnosis. Leonard listened very intently, and he had a very quizzical look. And when I finished, he just hesitated, and he wrinkled his brows, and he remarked, Dr. Lang, he said, "I know you saved my life when I had a heart attack. And I'm sure you're a very smart doctor." He said, "But I don't understand." He said, "I've been eating bagels for 69 years. I never had a bagel reaction before." And that is true. He was convinced I was a caring physician, but wasn't sure I was such a competent physician. Now, as I considered what to say today, and I am honored, you are the first class I've been with for 4 years. But I was cognizant of the fact that likely you won't remember anything I've said in this commencement speech. You may not even remember that I gave it. So I'm going to get the most important issue right now, something you will remember. When I started this speech, I addressed you as the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine class of 2018, medical students. Now I'd like to take the opportunity to address you as doctors and colleagues. From here on out, you'll forever be a student of medicine, but you'll never again be a medical student. I'm happy for you. I celebrate with you this evening. Now, make me proud of you by how you care for patients, how you educate the next generation of healthcare providers, how you contribute to the scholarly practice of medicine, and how you serve the community you reside. And since you and I are a lot alike, I'll do the same for you. Thank you for allowing me to share my heart with you. Thank you for sharing your heart and yourselves with us for the last 4 years. Please stay in touch with us. Thank you.
Students with the motivation and capacity to excel in research and scholarship during medical school are truly exceptional. The following students successfully participated in a rigorous selection process and based on their meritorious achievements will graduate with distinction in research and scholarship. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. I'll ask the audience to please hold their applause until all have been recognized. Harriet Barrett, Haley Budnick, Yvette Ferran, Chase Foster, Matthew Wynn. Congratulations. Please be seated. Thank you. Since the matriculation of its inaugural class in 2009, the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine has collaborated with the University of Texas Health Sciences Center at Houston School of Public Health in a program through which medical students may concurrently complete and graduate with a Master of Public Health degree. The following students have successfully completed the requirements of this highly relevant and challenging program. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. Again, I'll ask the audience to please hold their applause until all have been recognized. Jocelyn Anthony, Taylor Bramlett, Jisha Joes, Jennifer Nielsen, Daniel Welder, Brian Wong. Congratulations. Dr. Catherine Horn will now recognize student achievements.
The Alpha Omega Alpha Honor Medical Society, commonly known as Alpha Omega Alpha or AOA, is a national honor society for medical students, residents, scientists, and physicians in the United States and Canada. The goal of AOA is to recognize and perpetuate excellence in the medical profession. The AOA motto is to be worthy to serve the suffering. AOA was founded in 1902 by medical students who were dedicated to medicine as a scholarly pursuit and to the importance of physicians dedicating themselves to serving patients. Election to AOA is limited to those students that have excellent scholastic qualifications. In addition to academic excellence, candidates are selected on the basis of their outstanding professionalism, leadership skills, teaching, community service, research, and scholarly activity. The total number of students elected shall not exceed 1/6 of the total number in the class expected to graduate. It is a great privilege for me to recognize members of the class of 2018 elected to AOA. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. I'll ask the audience to please hold their applause until all have been recognized. Harriet Barrett, Haley Budnick, Caden Crawford, Thomas Dagg, Marissa Davis, Jesse Fike, Chase Foster, Catherine Jennings, Jacob Krimble, Jennifer Meisenheimer, Luis Neve, Crosby Rock, Catherine Smith, Haley Swanson, Bernadette Tan, and Kristen Ward. Congratulations. The Gold Humanism Honor Society honors senior medical students, residents, role model physician teachers, and other exemplars who were nominated by students for demonstrated excellence in clinical care, leadership, compassion, and dedication to service. Organized to elevate the values of humanism and professionalism within the field of medicine and its constituent institutions, the Society is fast becoming integrated into the medical education environment. In 2012, Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center El Paso, Paul L. Foster School of Medicine established a chapter of the Gold Humanism Honor Society, and I am proud to introduce the members of the class of 2018. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name, and again, if the audience would hold their applause until the end. Heather Bailey, Christian Draper, Connie Herrera, Jisha Joes, Arizo Nazrazadani, Luis Neve, Jennifer Nielsen, Ricardo Parra, Benjamin Shapley, Natalia Sidhu, Bernadette Tan, Alejandro Vargas, and Gerardine Villanueva. Congratulations. Thank you all. Each year, as part of the Match Day celebration, students are recognized by the various departments for their outstanding work. Students were presented with their awards at Match Day, but I'd like to again publicly recognize these students for their achievements. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name, and we'll hold our applause to the end again. Caden Crawford, Stacy Guy, Gerardo Rosas, Cynthia Sacco, Lauren Scalaminos, Catherine Smith, Heather Bailey, Jacob Krimble. Congratulations. This is the second year the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine is pleased to honor members of our 100-hour club, which includes all students who have undertaken and documented service outside our campus, totaling more than 100 hours during their medical school education. The purpose of the 100-hour club is to encourage students to make time for service and activities of their choosing, both in clinical and community settings. We will now acknowledge these graduating students. Will all students with 100 hours or more of documented service, otherwise you could all stand up, right? Will you please stand up if you've had 100 hours of service during your 4 years? Okay, so now we'll see who you're paying attention. Wait. Will those with less than 250 hours please be seated? Now, will those students with less than 500 hours please be seated? So, ladies and gentlemen, the students that remain standing have more than 500 hours of service. They are Alyssa Price with 520 hours. Natalia Sidhu with 622 hours. Caden Crawford with 780 hours. And Stephen Cheney with 958 hours. Congratulations, everyone. Now, Dr. Manuel Scheidlauer will address the audience as well.
In every graduating class, there are students who have chosen to join a branch of the United States Armed Services. These students will soon serve as physicians and officers with rank in the medical corps. Please stand and remain standing as I call your name. United States Air Force Captain Jacob Krimble. United States Air Force Captain Cynthia Sacco. United States Air Force Captain Richard Trevino III. United States Air Force Captain Matthew Wynn. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in applauding these individuals for their service to our country. There is another very important group of people among us today who are deserving of our recognition. They are graduates, alumni, family, and friends who have been in the military service. For those currently serving in the armed forces and for those who have served in the past, would you please stand and accept our heartfelt appreciation for your service to our country?
It's my honor to present 2 awards to the graduating class. The first award is the Dean's Highest Academic Achievement Award, which is given to the student who's achieved the most honors grades in the required clerkships in years 3 and 4 of medical school, as well as the highest average for what are called the United States Medical License Exam, or USMLE Step 1 and Step 2 scores. This year, the student who demonstrates the highest academic achievement is, and this really is a surprise because nobody knows but me, Chase Foster. Come here, Chase. Come on up. Congratulations, Chase. And just to confirm, he did not know. Chase, if I could borrow that and put that on my window, I never got one of those when I was in medical school. The next is the Gold-Headed Cane Award. Now, this is a long-standing tradition in medicine that was begun by the Royal College of Physicians in London in 1689. It was a lovely ceremony, I remember it well. The college at that time selected a physician to carry the cane who they deemed to be an outstanding clinician, who exemplified the ultimate in consideration for patient care and excellence in clinical care. The tradition was brought to America in 1919, and now it continues with our own tradition at the Texas Tech University Health Science Center, El Paso, Paul L. Foster School of Medicine. Now, this recipient is selected jointly by students and faculty as the individual who exemplifies those attributes we find most desirable in the competent and caring physician we've talked about for the last 4 years. Dr. Herb Jansen, a faculty member with our institution for over 40 years, handcrafted a walking cane with gold trim, and he generously donated it to our institution. It stays at our institution, by the way. The winner does not keep this. The cane, however, thank you, Dana White, and an engraved nameplate are both prominently displayed in the glass cases of our medical education building for everybody to see that walks through the medical education building. The Gold-Headed Cane Award recipient will also sit with the platform party to make sure they behave for the rest of the ceremony. And they will actually lead the class in the recitation of their class oath. And this recipient of this year's Gold-Headed Cane Award also isn't aware of it. So Bernadette Tan, would you come up here? If you didn't notice, Bernadette was listed in AOA and also received the Gold Humanism Award as well. Bernadette, congratulations. You surprised? You shouldn't be. Now, we're going to turn to the hooding ceremony and the awarding of degrees, and I want to take just a second to explain the attire of our faculty and our students. Now, you notice that the students are wearing a doctor's gown that's laced or faced with green velvet and has green chevrons, and that's the traditional color for medicine. The hoods are also edged in green, and the lining has the official colors of Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center that are red and black. And finally, the students wear a tam, or a flat hat, with a gold tassel that designates their doctoral degree. Now, you may notice that some of the faculty and the hooders that are up here hooding the students may have different colors, and they represent their own disciplines or their own schools, the colleges and universities where they received their doctoral degree. The students will carry their hood over their left arm. They'll present it to the hooders who are on the podium, and it symbolizes the receipt of the doctoral degree. As each student's name is read, they will come forward to be hooded, either by someone on faculty here or by a relative with a doctoral degree, and then they will proceed to receive their diploma. Would you all like to proceed with the conferring of degrees? We don't have to. Okay. Will the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine candidates please rise? Now, by now, you all are aware that degrees are awarded only to those who have successfully completed all the requirements established by the Texas Tech University Health Sciences Center in El Paso and the faculty. And the faculty, seated to your left, we're going to introduce them a little bit later, has recommended that you all, the candidates for the Paul L. Foster School of Medicine, be conferred your medical degree. By the virtue of the authority invested in me by the Board of Regents of the Texas Tech University system, I confer upon each of you your medical degree. Please be seated. Now, over the next few minutes, we're going to rearrange the stage. We'll set the stage both for the distribution of the diplomas and for the hooding and photography, so just give us a couple of moments.
Jeffrey Allison, hooded by his mother, Dr. Shelley K. Allison, and his father, Dr. Kevin L. Allison. Jocelyn Anthony, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Tina Anthony, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Heather Schoenburn, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Harriet Barrett, hooded by her cousin, Dr. John Malone. Tiffany Hazel Blankenship, hooded by her uncle, Dr. Manuel Columbres. Carolina Belote, hooded by her father, Dr. Jaime A. Belote. Taylor Bramlett, hooded by her mother, Robin L. Bramlett, J.D., and her father, Patrick D. Bramlett, J.D. Haley Butnick, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Dana Bullock, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Dominic Campano, hooded by his wife, Dr. Roxana Campano. Adiel Carlo, hooded by her mother, Dr. Esperanza Almeida. Stephen Cheney, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Eric Klein, hooded by his sister, Hannah Klein Shaws, J.D., and his father, Dr. Mark Allen Klein. Rachel Luna Klein, hooded by her mother, Dr. Shirley Ann Luna, and her father-in-law, Dr. Mark Allen Klein. Jonathan Corpus, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Caden Crawford, hooded by her aunt, Kayla J. Gibbs, J.D. Zenny Scott, hooded by her husband, Dr. Gabriel Renee Scott. Thomas Dagg, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Marissa Davis, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Nabi Diab, hooded by his father, Dr. Ali Diab. Christian Draper, hooded by his brother, Scott Warren Draper, J.D. Gisela Escobedo, hooded by her brother, Pablo Jose Escobedo, J.D., and her mother, Dr. Marbel Luz Escobedo. Vincent Esparza, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Yvette Farran, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Kimberly Ferris, hooded by her brother, Dr. Brian Blake Ferris. Jesse Fike, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Robert Casey Allen Finch, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Aaron Fisher, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Chase Foster, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Emilio González Cervantes, hooded by his father, Dr. Emilio González Ayala, and his grandfather, Dr. Emilio Efraín González Domínguez. Connie Herrera, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Chelsea Hollis, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Cassidy Hassenlaub, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Catherine Jennings, hooded by her husband, Dr. Michael Jennings, and her father, Dr. Clark Howard. Jisha Jose, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. James Zheng, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Jacob Krimble, hooded by his mother, Dr. Elizabeth Krimble. Joseph Crocker, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Zoltan Krudi, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Igor Kushner, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Aura Lamas, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Daniel Lapid, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Jabel McHale, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Alexandra Martinez, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Shannon McCloskey, hooded by her aunt, Dr. Sharon McCloskey. Jorge Miranda, hooded by his father, Dr. Blas Alberto Miranda. Jennifer Meisenheimer, hooded by her father, Dr. Gregory Robert Meisenheimer. Carla Moreno, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Horezo Nazrazadani, hooded by her sister, Dr. Azadeh Nazrazadani, and her father, Dr. Saifullah Nazrazadani. Neve, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Stacy Guy, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Jennifer Nielsen Fan, hooded by her husband, Dr. Jerry Fan, and her mother, Dr. Joanne Nielsen. Montana Odell, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Swagat Parajali, hooded by his father, Dr. Meg N. Parajali. Ricardo Barra, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Bhargav Patel, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Gregory Payne, hooded by his father, Dr. Alvin Donald Payne. Sarah Payne, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Joshua Penniman, hooded by his sister, Dr. Rachel May Anderson, and his mother, Dr. Pamela Ann Chandler. Haley Phillips, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Alyssa Price, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Jonathan Priego, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Ivan Ramirez, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Jose Robina, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. T. Scott Robbins, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Crosby Rock, hooded by his father, Dr. Douglas Brent Rock. Jasmine Roldan, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Gerardo Rosas, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. John Ruelas, hooded by his brother, Dr. Roberto Hilario Ruelas. Andres Ruiz, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Cynthia Sacco, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Shika Shah, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Noel Shaheen, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Nagashri Shankar, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Benjamin Shapley, hooded by his sister, Dr. Zoe Shapley Tullius. Natalia Sidhu, hooded by her sister, Dr. Kiran Jeet Sidhu, and her father, Dr. Samarjeet Singh Sidhu. Lauren Scalomenos, hooded by her mother, Dr. Delia Marie Quisenberry, and her brother, Dr. Thomas Quisenberry. Christopher Scalomenos, hooded by his wife, Dr. Lauren Scalomenos. Catherine Smith, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Haley Swanson, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Bernadette Tan, hooded by her mother, Dr. Julie Lim, and her father, Dr. Frederick Tan. Lillian Tran, hooded by her fiancé, Dr. Jorge Aceves. Richard Trevino III, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Ricardo Uribe, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Alejandro Vargas, hooded by his mother, Dr. Patricia Margarita Quevedo, and his father, Dr. Arturo Levaro Vargas. Geraldine Villanueva, hooded by her mother-in-law, Dr. Ethel Villanueva, and her father-in-law, Dr. David Villanueva. Kristen Ward, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Daniel Welder, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Mariela White, hooded by Dr. Catherine Horn and Dr. Paul Ogden. Brian Wong, hooded by his father, Dr. Franklin Chu Leung Wong. Matthew Wynn, hooded by his father, Dr. Michael Preston Wynn.
That's it, right? Stage ready? Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Texas Tech University Health Science Center Paul L. Foster School of Medicine Class of 2018 graduates. You deserve it. All right, just a little housekeeping. There's a photographer right up there. So if everybody will look and blink at the same time. We're going to do two. We're going to do one like this, and we're going to do a guns up in just a moment. Hold on a second. Regular one. Snap some photos. Let me get out of the way. You all ready? Guns up. Could I ask the audience to be seated for a minute? I'm going to ask Bernadette Tan to please come forward. She's going to lead the class in the recitation of the class oath. Bernadette?
Thanks, Dr. Lang. All right, just want to say congrats to my fellow classmates. Yeah, we did it. Woo! One more round of applause. Okay, so if you guys want to join in saying the class of 2018 oath. In recognition of the responsibility that my journey into medicine entails, I hereby make this oath. To my patients and their families, I dedicate myself to provide care to the best of my ability, regardless of identity or circumstance. While respecting your autonomy, I will see you as a fellow human in need. To my community, I pledge to promote ethical practice and uphold human rights. I will partner with you to strengthen public health by imparting knowledge and serving as an advocate. To my colleagues, I will strive to meet the highest expectations possible and hold you to the same levels of accountability. I will value the opinions of my peers and the experience of my mentors. I will remain ever cognizant of the importance of each member of the healthcare team. Through collaboration, we will provide the highest standard of care. To my loved ones, I thank you. Your support has brought me this far and will foster my growth as a physician, family member, and friend. I will strive to maintain balance in my life and not devalue our relationship. To myself, I promise to continue developing as an individual and as a physician. I'm not above reproach, and despite my best efforts, I recognize my fallibility. I will seek to grow from my shortcomings as well as those of others. I commit to my vocation as a calling rather than a choice of profession. I will not lose sight of my motivation to devote my life's work to the service of humanity. This oath I hold firmly and embrace of my own free will. Thank you.
When you wrote that 4 years ago, it didn't seem quite so long, did it? You guys wrote it. This is the oath that they composed together as a group when they're first-year students, and stay all 4 years, and it's our desire that that would be your oath for the rest of the time you're a physician. There are two groups we need to recognize we haven't yet. The first is we have a very distinguished and very dedicated faculty. And I know you guys put a lot of work into it. This wouldn't be possible without them. Could I have the faculty stand for just a second? And could we just applaud the faculty? Over here. Thank you. And to you graduates, I am pleased to offer my sincere congratulations to all of you. You may have not thought this day was going to come soon enough, but I knew it would eventually arrive. We're very proud of you. We're proud of what you've accomplished. You are our greatest measure of success, and I mean that sincerely. And I have every confidence that you'll be our greatest asset in the years to come. And I have best wishes to all of you, and I meant it. You better stay in touch, because I know where you're going to do your residencies. And one thing remains to be done before we part. Gathered here are your friends and family who've applauded your achievements, they've supported you, they've encouraged you all along the way in your efforts to gain this education. And as Catherine said, when you felt like it was time to quit, propped you up and didn't allow you to do so. So I think it's fitting if you take a second and applaud them. At this point, I would like to thank all of you for being here to celebrate this achievement in our students' lives, in our university lives, in the life of our community. Everyone will be invited to a reception. It will be held both in the first and the second floor after the procession, where we allow the graduates, doctors, to leave the stage. Congratulations.